Hello and welcome to another episode of What's for Dinner. Tonight we're making buffalo wings, but we're not going to be using the deep fryer. If you'd like a set of step-by-step instructions, as well as a full list of all the ingredients I used here today, please visit the link in the description. It'll take you to the Fire and Steel website where you can find all of that. So today, as I mentioned, we will be making buffalo wings, and I'm not going to use the deep fryer. We're going to do these in the oven. You can do them in the deep fryer if you have one, but not a lot of people have access to a deep fryer, so I like to share this recipe because they come out almost as good, and honestly maybe even a little bit better than if they were made in the deep fryer. More on that a little bit later. First, you can see the main step here is that I am covering my pan with aluminum foil. You could skip this if you like, but it makes cleanup a lot easier. Next, I'm taking some nonstick spray. This is particularly high-temp nonstick spray, the same kind that you would use on your grill. That's because the oven's set to a fairly high temperature and it's going to be in there for a long time. And you can see I put on a lot. That's important because sticking is something that's of big concern for us making wings in the oven. Next, I'm going to go ahead and toss the wings in a little bit of oil. This is again to prevent sticking and also to promote browning. But I'm also going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt on these wings as well. This is not for seasoning. I'm not trying to season these. That's what the sauce will be for later. And you can see it's not very much relative to the amount of wings that I have. The salt added here is more to help draw moisture out, which is a large part of this methodology. Is we want to both dry out the wings and crisp and brown the wings. Managing moisture in the cooking process becomes really, really important so that they do get crispy and don't get flabby and soggy and gross. And so here you can see I'm beginning to organize the wings. You want them spaced out evenly, and it's right about there is when I realized this pan's too small. If I were to put this pan in the oven as it is right now, there would be more juices coming out than would be able to be evaporated off, and these wings would end up stewing rather than roasting. Now, while I get my other set of pans ready, I did want to mention, I had said that these actually come out slightly better than the deep fryer. The textures end up being the same. They're very crispy. The one advantage that oven wings have is that they end up being very tender because of the long, slow cook process. So you get all the same crispiness that you would at the deep fryer, but a very tender wing. Like the flappers, the bones inside just pop right out. The meat falls right off of the drumsticks. It's actually really, really nice. And so here you can see I'm being very fiddly. I'm doing a lot of work to make sure that these are nice and evenly spaced. This is important. You don't need to bust out a ruler, but you want about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch in between each wing. We're going to put these in the oven at 375 degrees for 45 minutes. Seems like a long time. It is a long time. But again, we're slowly drawing moisture out and crisping the outside skin. So next, more fiddly work is you want to flip every single wing over. Again, this seems tedious, it may seem unnecessary, but this is going to help promote even browning. It's going to make sure that they render out all the way, all the fat renders out of the skin, and this makes them so they crisp up just like they would in the deep fryer. If you don't do this, you may end up with one side being kind of flabby while one side's extra crispy. So we're going to put these back in the oven. I did them for another 45 minutes. You could do them for 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how crispy you like your wings. So while the wings are in the oven cooking the rest of the way, we're going to go ahead and get our wing sauce ready. And this is the best wing sauce that I've ever had. And I know that's a pretty bold statement, and I do stand by it. So we're going to start with 1 cup of just run-of-the-mill buffalo sauce. I specifically used a very generic buffalo sauce because I wanted to kind of show that this doesn't require some special ingredients. To that, we're going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of sriracha. This is really to increase the spice level. If you like spicy food, add some more. If you don't, feel free to add a little bit less. And then the next ingredient is dried minced garlic. This is the secret ingredient. This completely changes the way the sauce tastes. It's still buffalo sauce, but the garlic adds a slight sweetness and a depth of flavor that regular buffalo sauce does not have. And then along with that is a little bit of fresh ground pepper. This also adds just a different kind of taste to the sauce that you don't normally get when you use just plain straight buffalo sauce. So with all of that in our measuring cup, just give it a quick stir to mix it all together, and then we're going to pop this in the microwave for 1 minute. We're not trying to cook this sauce necessarily, you just want to warm it up so that all the ingredients begin to kind of infuse a little bit. So with the sauce warmed up, just give it one more stir to evenly distribute the heat, because you know how microwaves are, and then we're just going to let this sit on the counter until everything is said and done. With the sauce sorted out, we'll go ahead and turn our attention to the wings, and this brings us to a very important step. When these come out of the oven for the final time, you want to make sure you free each wing from the pan. Go through and individually pull each one off. This is going to help prevent sticking. If you wait, they may stick and then take foil with or leave meat behind. After you do free them from the pan, you do want to give them about 5 minutes to sit. It lets the outside harden up and get nice and crispy. So with the wings all ready to go, we'll go ahead and get them tossed in our sauce. Dump your sauce right on top. Give it about 30 seconds to kind of seep down into the wings and warm up. Then toss it all the way through, and you have a plate full of what I guarantee are going to be the best buffalo wings that you never knew were not made in a deep fryer. As always, I thank you for watching. Please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe for more content like this every single week. Thank you.